What's up, YouTube? Silver Dragons here, and I'm super excited today to be welcoming back Rana Vig, the CEO and founder of Blue Lagoon Resources. Rana, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for inviting me back to your show.
Of course, and since last time we talked, your company's share price has gone up. So would you care to talk about that?
Yeah, we're on fire, man. I told you, we're just in the first inning here of the precious metal super cycle, right? Gold and silver are, I think, just poised to take off here. And yeah, since we last spoke, our stocks up 25%. So we're headed in the right direction, and a lot of that is just to simply to do with just the environment that we're in right now, right? With all this chaos around the world that's happening and all this unprecedented printing of money. So the precious metals love that environment, and B, just execution, right? We're executing on our plan and building value. So yeah, we're super excited, and I think we're just getting going here.
Oh, definitely. And I'll just tell you this, my physical gold and silver that I've been stacking, they haven't gone up at all this last month, but your company's share price has gone up. So, that's a great opportunity for people if they want to diversify and invest into the gold miners. There could be some money to be made there. So what have you done to move the company forward since we last spoke?
Yeah, well, it's all about execution, right? So since we last spoke, we're focusing on two key areas. One is, we have a permitted mine, right? I mean, it takes like 20 years to get to that point, and millions of dollars. Fortunately, for me, I came to the party a little bit towards the tail end there, which is kind of exciting for me because the previous owners had spent like $68 million on this property, and 28 million just in the last dozen years, all on mine development, infrastructure, and permitting. So there's only three things really that I need to do to get this in a position where we can make a decision to a production decision to start commence mining, and we've started that process. It's not onerous. It's a little over $1 million US, about $1.5 million Canadian. I have that, right. Since we spoke, we closed a $7.5 million financing, so we're fully cashed up. We have no debt. I'm very, very careful how we spend our money. Right? I mind the pennies, very, very closely. So we're cashed up, and the work for the amendment, all the amendments has started. Man, we have like over 20 people up there working right now. So it's really exciting to get that going. And then on the second part of it, 90% of this property has never been explored. So we're working hard. We just did what's called an airborne survey where we fly the whole property. It's almost 12,000 hectares, so it's huge. And our technical team, got the data back. We news released that about a week ago. They're very excited because we're seeing at least 5 targets that we can follow up on. Bottom line, we believe there's a lot more gold and silver here, and we're excited to get the drills turning and show the market what we have.
And Rana, one thing that I think people might not be aware of is your main project, Dome Mountain Gold Mine. It's barely an hour away from a mining town, which is very convenient. But when I picture Dome Mountain, I literally picture this mountain of gold and silver just waiting to be tapped. And most of it hasn't even been explored, like you mentioned. So that must be very exciting. And I know you're drilling as well. So can you talk about the company's drill results?
Yeah, we just finished a 4,000, just under a 4,000 meter drill program. So it wasn't a huge program, but certainly significant because we drilled right at the mine site and right at our main vein, that we're chasing. And the numbers were just spectacular. Not just the gold numbers, but the silver numbers as well. That's one of the beauties of the project that we have here is that for at the Boulder vein, for every 1 ounce of gold, we've got a little over 4 ounces of silver. And with silver prices, where they are right now in the mid 20s and expected to certainly go to 30s and 40s, I fully believe that we should be at 40 around the $40 mark here, at the towards the end of the year, or if not, Q1 of next year, with all that's happening around the world. And as you know, right, there's a ratio between gold and silver, right, historically, right. So as gold moves up, silver has to follow. So that's very exciting for us at the project. So you're correct. We have a fair amount of gold there, but also a lot of silver, which is getting very exciting. It's going to add a lot to our bottom line, and a sweetener, I like to call it. Right. We've got the gold, but we've also got a lot of silver.
A little sweetener for sure. Now, one thing that I'm really curious about is, I know you mentioned you did the airborne surveys, but because there's so much of an area that's unexplored, will you be drilling there moving forward into next year to see what's all potentially there?
Absolutely. That's one of the keys. So that's what we do is, after we fly the airborne survey, right, that basically is the technology that allows us, the technical team, to see, if you like, kind of, quote unquote, see what's underground, kind of, right? So it gives us some idea of the geology, and it gives us an idea of where we should go exploring, and hunting, if you like, right? So yes, with all this cash that we just injected into the company, we have actually submitted a 100-hole program to the government, which it's about a 90-day process to get approved. We submitted that a little over a month ago, so we fully expect to have that here before or by the end of the year, and we'll be the drills should be turning there early January, if not at the end of this year. And that's going to be a good aggressive, 15, 20,000 meter program. So it's one of the nice things about this property. You alluded to that earlier. We're less than an hour from a town. A lot of these properties, you got to fly in with helicopters, and you got to build expensive camps because they're very high up in the mountains, and you can only work there, 3 or 4 months out of the year. We have none of those issues, right? We're right outside of a mining town called Smithers, about a 50-minute drive. Workers can go there, work all day, come home, have dinners with their families, and go back at it again the next day. Right? That's a very important piece for mining projects, because it attracts the right talent, and more importantly, it gives you the ability to retain the talent, right? Rather than somebody having to go away from their families for 2 months at a time, type of thing, right? And also, we're able to do this all year round. Right, so we'll be drilling and working there constantly, 365 days a year. Well, maybe with the exception of Christmas, we'll take a couple of holidays. But other than that, we're excited. Workers, all our team is excited to be advancing this project night and day.
Well, that's great. And I know people have this picture in their mind, right? The mountain of gold and silver. But when people invest into a company, they're not just investing into the resources, they're also investing into a management team. So the old saying goes, bet on the jockey, not the horse. So Rana, what's your track record, and why do you believe you can deliver exceptional value for shareholders?
Well, that's a great question. That's so important, because it doesn't matter, what you have. If you don't have the ability to execute, if you've never done it before, then the chances are, against you, that you're not going to be able to do it. And it doesn't have to be industry specific, right? As long as you understand, how to manage people, how to manage budgets, how to be very, very focused and execute. I've been very fortunate. I've been involved in business for almost 35 years, and just look at my last 2 deals, right? I took the largest, when cannabis was very, very hot, I was involved in that sector. I took a company called Curaleaf public, which was a $520 million raise. It was the largest cannabis raise in Canadian history. It was nearly a $6 billion reverse takeover. And then I was very fortunate to do it one more time a couple months later. Once I finished that transaction, I took another company called Harvest Health and Rec out of Arizona. That was a $300 million raise. That made it the third largest of 2018, and it was nearly a $2 billion RTO. The Curaleaf stock went to like $15. Harvest went to $14.50. So I certainly know how to really, really focus. And then, I came along to back to mining, because mining is where I started in the capital markets back in 2010, 2011. But the markets weren't favorable. Right, and as an entrepreneur, it's very, very important to recognize the trend, and it's very hard to swim upstream, right, as they say. So I built a team around this mining company, this gold and silver company in particular. One of my directors, Norm Brewster. Very, very seasoned geologist. He has put a mine into production, and not only into production, but sold it to a company called Trafigura. It's a giant out of Europe. So, he has a track record and the ability to guide management into getting this, the job done. And same thing with our geologist. Bill Cronk is one of the top geos in the country, has had many, many successes. So, it's all about putting the team together, or one of our advisors. Yannis Statitos, who was a 19-year veteran of BHP, one of the biggest mining companies in the world. So, when you put all that together and you laser beam focus and on the industry that you're involved with, I believe that execution, just becomes around the corner. So, not to suggest by any means that I'm the smartest guy around, but certainly, I'm very I take pride on getting myself surround myself with the brightest and the best of the industry, and then execute on the plan. So I believe this is going to be my next big win.
Wow, fantastic. And my last question is not just for Blue Lagoon Resources, but why should people be investing in the miners in general? As I mentioned earlier, my physical gold and silver have basically maintained over the last month, but some of these mining companies have actually gone up in value quite a bit, yours being one of them. So could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, traditionally, it's very important, and I would encourage everyone to own some amount of physical gold and silver, right? That because that's a method of preserving wealth, right? But to build wealth, right, you really got to pick the timing, right? And here we are. We are in this what's predicted to be a precious metals super cycle. People have been waiting for a long time for this to happen, and it's here, right? So traditionally, if you look at it historically, for every small increment that gold goes up, junior miners like ours go up multiples of that, right? And that's what's how wealth is created, how returns are generated, right? So, and it's not just us. I mean, there's a lot of great junior exploration companies, right? So I would highly encourage you and your audience to. This is not the time to be a spectator, right? This is the time to be engaged, right? So if you have ever wanted to get involved, right? Do your due diligence, get the right advice from financial advisors, take a look at companies like ours, right? But don't sit on the sidelines, right? If that's was something that you wanted to do, because the time is now. Look at Warren Buffett, right? Warren Buffett, a guy who has traditionally always spoke negative about precious metals. Suddenly, just a few weeks ago, I don't know if you read, jumped into gold, right? He's abandoned pretty much the banks and given up on the dollar, and is recognizing that gold miners are a great investment. So he's just jumped into that. So you're going to see a lot more people follow that trend. So this is the time, right? It's times like that that really generational wealth is created, right? So I would just encourage everyone to make sure that they put a little bit into the physical metals, but also look at companies like ours and consider investing.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. People definitely need to do their own research, figure out what they want to do, get a game plan, and then actually execute if that's what they want to do. So, Rana, as we wrap up here, can viewers reach out to you directly, perhaps by email if they have additional questions? And also, can you talk about your website and where they can find more information there?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm a very engaged CEO. I like talking to shareholders. I consider that a sacred duty, that I have. So yeah, if people want to reach out to me or have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Our best way to do that is to go to our website, bluelagoonresources.com, and you'll find an email there if they click on that, and it'll eventually make its way to me, and I'm happy to engage and answer any questions. from that. And yeah, and we trade here in Canada under the symbol BLLG, and in the US under BLAGF. So yeah, I would encourage everyone to check us out.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for coming on. We really appreciate all the information, all of the insight, and we do look forward to having you on again in the future when we can get another update. So all of the links will be down below in the description for people to check out, and I'll see you all in my next video. Silver Dragons is out.